take your bitch, I fuck your pussy. My whole name Keisha, that's a bad bitch. Stupid attitude, don't can have it.
Big up to Lord Hybrid.
My whole Shanika, straight savage. But I never come for dope, you can stab it.
Shout out to Lord Hybrid.
Demo so windows. Pussy get me higher. I don't need no drugs.
Just the steering and the heaviness of it, the placement. It's a tall vehicle. You coming?
My bitch Trina, keep that Aquafina. And the mama thinking for if only you seen her. I sit at the crib, waiting on her to call. She show up to my house, she don't wear no show. Demolition shorty, man, outside out the wall. Take it out the pussy, go straight in the jaws. I sit at the crib, waiting on her to call. She show up to my house, she don't wear no show.
Hit that gas. Boy, feel that. You know what I'm saying?
Demolition shorty, man, outside out the wall. Take it out the pussy, go straight in the jaws.
I bought the G-Wagon cash. Lord Hybrid.
I got a whole name Tina, I love that bitch. A whole name Trina, I love that bitch. I got a whole name Shanika, but I hate that bitch. A whole name Keisha, why I date that bitch. See my brother Young Snow, that my dog. Red Cousin, that my dog. Hey, no sleep, fuck you pussy. I take you bitch, I fuck your pussy.
You laugh at bitches who worship big dicks like that.
It's it's fun to have car. It's fun to have. People give me a lot of respect in this car, man.
I got a whole name Aisha, whole name Brisha, whole name Callie that worked at Little Caesar.
You laugh at bitches who worship big dicks like that.
Whole name Aisha, whole name Brisha, whole name Callie that worked at Little Caesar. Whole name Aisha, whole name Brisha, whole name Callie that worked at Little Caesar.
What the fuck you do that for?
Whole name Dolly, that be fucking with Isha. Get back to Fania, cause you know she fuck with Gina.
Big up to Lord Hybrid.
Whole name Holly, best friend Molly. Holly at Aisha, cause you know she kinda jolly. Her mama named Kim, damn she kinda slim. Get Linda and Mary, bitch,
I fuck with them.
Shout out to Lord Hybrid.
let me call Nisha. Sister named Quila, cousin named Sheikah. I be hitting Tisha.
What the fuck you do that for?
I be hitting Tisha, don't give a dog. Dick game, stupid dog, do balls and all. I sit at the crib, waiting on her to call. She show up to my house, I ask for her drawers. Double this is shawty, man, I tell her the walls.
Take it out of pussy dog.
Put it in the jar. I got a
You laugh at bitches who worship big dicks like that.
Lord Hybrid. My boy got them bands, bro.
Sit down. You will lose your seat. They won't vote for you. Fight. Don't fight. What the do I have to do in this council in order to get respect as a black woman? I'm not afraid of anybody here. When I make a mistake, I will be clear. I don't hate you as a white woman. I don't hate you as a white man. I am sick and tired of this body so stupidly racially divided, so afraid, so depraved. People with no faith because they are afraid of they're losing their investment. They're afraid of bargaining. They're afraid of leveraging. These people have, oh my God, I can't even call you cowards because desperation deserves mercy. Here's a redistricting. Fine, we give it to a white woman. Can we all get along? Can we get together? Can we love each other now? Can we make sure that black and brown babies don't die? Can we make sure that cops don't kill before people are proven innocent? Can we do that? No, because this body crucifies you first. because of allegations. This is not a court. You don't get to crucify people before they're proven guilty. They're innocent until proven guilty. Now, after this, I will look forward to working with you because I have stamina. I believe, as Baldwin said, what you do, not what you say. Your votes here sometimes are racist.
Yo, Lord Hybrid, I'm gonna agree with you too.
To crucify people before they're proven guilty. They're innocent until proven guilty. Now, after this, I will look forward to working with you because I have stamina. I believe, as Baldwin said, what you do, not what you say. Your votes here sometimes are racist. You move sometimes in a way that hurts my people. And then when I get up to stand up and talk, all she talks about is black stuff. As you should. I am here to represent every single black woman and man that suffers in the community.
Shut the fuck up!
Trust, believe in the Most High, and chase your dreams. I'm chasing my dreams. It's hard. If it was a plane, you're gonna experience turbulence. Yeah. If it's a ship, you're gonna go through some rough waters where rocky big waves. Ride there. As long as you believe that your destination, you want to get there, you'll do it, and that's what I'm doing. I'm living my dreams.
I told you this, nigga.
In business, the goal is for you to become independent and be the boss, take the responsibility, and also get the profit.
I ain't got no motherfucking boss. SP motherfucking I.
The way to make $1 million, first and foremost, is to make it in your mind.
But if you believe in God, believe in
SP motherfucking I.
Believe in that, for real.
Lord Hybrid. Lord Hybrid, my brother. Peace to the God.
Lord Hybrid.
I'm getting money out here independently. I own my own brands 100%. And I bought the G-Wagon cash. Lord Hybrid.
Yo, Lord Hybrid. My boy got them bands, bro.
Nigga got money.
And then I want to give an acknowledgement to my rich friends in the building. Shout out to Lord Hybrid.
Lord Hybrid. Shout out to Lord Hybrid. Shout out to Lord Hybrid.
Shout out to Lord Hybrid.
Lord Hybrid, okay? Big up to Lord Hybrid.
And the woman gonna know, okay, he got something. He pulled up in the G-Wagon. And Lord Hybrid is in the building.
Lord Hybrid, okay? Big up to Lord Hybrid.
Okay, damn it, I'm here. It's your boy Lord Hybrid, and man, I see something incoming, that I don't think a lot of people really aware of. Shout out my man UFO Kamikaze. You know what I mean? Good like Penny abusive mother from Good Times. Oh yeah, she definitely that crazy. Unfortunately, she's in the city council, and this is how she's, communicating in the city council with other council members. I would hate to have to work with that, and these colleges are producing really stupid people, man. These sisters are really idiots. Unfortunately, it's gonna cost them. They're gonna have to pay for that. You know what I'm saying? They a lot of them is gonna get grabbed. The grabbing that Trump talked about. A lot of these women are about to get grabbed like that and removed from government. The government is the biggest employer in America, and Elon and Vivek just got to DC, and they even got Democrats talking about they gonna work with them. They say I read that Trump's already in charge. Everybody's just doing what that nigga wants. You know what I'm saying? Zuckerberg that came like, yo, I want to work with you. Bill Gates. You know what I mean? Everybody just kneeling down. Trudeau flew down. He got handled pretty rough. You know what I'm saying? So what's happening now is even the deep state has accepted that Trump's agenda is going to happen. So with America being with who he got in there, he's got two of the smartest guys in America and maybe the smartest guy in the whole world, Elon. But Vivek is exceptionally smart as well. Both of them have been highly and hugely successful in big business. Vivek is worth hundreds of millions of dollars that he did through business. And Elon about to be the first trillionaire. So two guys like that whose purpose is to bring efficiency to the government. Yo, it's a lot of sisters that work for the government, man. And they saying like 90% of the jobs since COVID is like no shows. Like people ain't been to the office in years and they don't do nothing at all but collect a check. No show jobs, man. And a lot of them are women. Elon talking about slashing $2 trillion. And these dudes ain't playing. Everybody's bound down to them. So this government thing is about to be inflicted upon them within the next year and a half to 2 years max. I don't even think they got 2 years. And they're extremely serious about it.
To where we are, to be the greatest nation, I believe, known to the history of mankind, is following the greatest operating manual for a nation known to the history of mankind, and that's the U.S. Constitution.
All politics is local. We're in Washington, D.C. You talked about mostly getting rid of the administrative state. The federal government, the administrative, the executive branch, it sounds like will be notably smaller.
I think if we get our job done, absolutely. I mean, I think that this is a government where if you ask George Washington and Alexander Hamilton even, and John and Thomas Jefferson, is this federal government recognizable to the republic they set into motion? I think they would tell you this is unrecognizable, that it's a technocracy disguised as a democracy. And I think if we restore a federal government to a size that would make our founders proud, then yes, I believe that our best days as a country are still going to be ahead of us. If we fail to do it, then I can't make you that promise. But I think that if we restore a federal government back to size that would make the signers of the Declaration of Independence and the framers of the Constitutional Convention proud, then I am rock solid confident that America's best days still lie ahead.
Now we're looking forward to bringing you into the conversation.
Great. Thanks, Vivek, and thanks, Mike. Going to turn it over to our Executive Director, Anya Manuel, for the question, please.
Thank you so much for coming. Great presentation. Thank you. I'm 100% with you on the low-hanging fruit. I spend a lot of time working with the DoD. I'm glad they're not immune from reform for DOGE. I just want to get in a little more detail at your point on the fourth unelected estate. Under President Nixon, about 1.1% of the U.S. population worked for the federal government. Now it's about 0.6%. So it's steadily gone down as a percentage of the U.S. population. And about 70% of those federal government employees work in what we would consider the national security agencies. So most of those are at DoD, Intel, et cetera, et cetera. How low do you want to go, and where are you going to cut?
So a couple of things. First is the idea of reducing the federal employee headcount is not really about saving cost. I think that that's either been a misunderstanding or mischaracterization of the objective. Actually, it's a very small portion of the total federal costs that are the headcount expenses to individual employees. I think that part of what you have is an overgrown federal government that is doing things that were never supposed to be done by the federal government in the first place. You look at the number of times in the last 2 years alone, or 2 to 3 years, that the action of a federal agency has been struck down by the U.S. Supreme Court. You look at Loper Bright, you look at West Virginia versus EPA, you look at SEC versus JARCISI, countless cases just in the last several years where the federal government is doing things that you otherwise should not have done as a federal agency. It's illegal, according to the Supreme Court, unconstitutional under the laws and constitution of this country. Part of the problem is when you have a lot of people coming to work who shouldn't have had that job, they earnestly find good things to do, or what they believe are good things to do. It turns out we've already been put on notice that violate the law. And so I think part of the project of thinning out the federal bureaucracy, that's less about the headcount expenses, and it's more about actually respecting the rules of the road in the constitutional republic. Now, one way to do this is in a logical manner. What is the set of regulations that fall outside the scope of what the Constitution authorizes using those Supreme Court standards? If that's 10 or 20 or 30% fewer regulations, maybe it's more than that. Well, the industrial logic would say if the federal government is doing less, if the regulatory state at least is doing less, well, then you need less headcount to be able to carry that out. And I want to emphasize the individual federal employees are mostly not bad people, actually, because most human beings are not bad people. To the contrary, most people who are federal employees are doing what they do because they believe they're serving their country, and I respect that. And I think most of those federal employees, all of them, deserve to be treated with respect and dignity, no matter what changes are made. But I actually think it will happen to improve the productivity of the United States and our economic pie as a whole, because I don't believe that the highest and best use of any of those talented people is what they're doing in the federal government today, much of which even the Supreme Court tells us is outside of what's lawful in the federal government. And the way you improve the productivity of a country is the more you're actually tying what somebody's doing to a higher productivity activity, that increases the productivity in the economic whole and the economic pie of the nation as a whole. And so I think that this is going to be a positive development both for the economy as a whole, both for compliance with what our Constitution actually says is permissible to be done or not by the federal bureaucracy. But I'm hopeful it's going to be even good for many of the individuals who may make a transition from government service back to the private sector in a manner that respects them, in a manner that, because this wasn't really about wringing the biggest source of cost saving anyway, gives us a lot of latitude to be able to treat those workers and their families in a respectful way, in a way that doesn't leave them in a lurch, that might even be, by private sector standards, generous in transitioning. I think those are opportunities to both demonstrate respect to the individuals while saying that you, the individual federal worker, you're not the bad guy, but the existence of the bureaucracy that involves too many of those federal workers, that is what we're up against. And I think if we're able to separate those two things, we're going to be successful in doing this in a respectful, but also aggressive manner. Thank you.
Excuse me just a second.
In other words, these hoes got about a year and a half left. They got about another year and a half, and they're gonna be kicked out into the real world. No more no-show jobs for a comfortable salary and a pension. You're gonna have to actually work. Because once you get your unproductive ass into the private sector, they're gonna demand productivity because they don't pay for non-productivity. They need to make a profit. So you're gonna be introduced to the real world, the private sector, government, the real world. None of us who work in the private sector have a job where we don't have to show up for 3 years and we can buy a mouse wiggler and let it wiggle all day while we sleep all day. And we get paid for nothing for years. This really is happening with probably about 80% of the government employees who haven't been back in office since COVID. Now, you remember when COVID hit and when the employees started getting laid off because all of the non-essential businesses were closed, that affected women super highly disproportionately to men. Because the men was digging the stuff to lay down the cables and drilling on the thing to get the gas. They got something that's essential, that's actually important. The women had little rinky-dink jobs. And the black women suffered the most. You got to remember those statistics. So when this government get cleaned out, there is a lot of overweight, lazy, sorry black women working in the federal government doing nothing. So it's coming. It's on the way. It's incoming. Please understand. There's going to be a lot of sisters that's going to be faced with a financial crisis, and if they are fortunate enough to transition into the private sector, the actual workload and the burden of being productive every day is going to give them mental issues, and they're going to be unhappy because they're lazy government employees.
When you look at what Lord Hybrid is saying, he's right about all that, really.
And I don't think they understand that Elon Musk is the president of the United States. If Vivek is the vice president of the United States. Trump is just the trade dude, man. You know what I mean? He's the chief economic advisor in terms of he handled the trade, he gonna handle the energy. He got his section. But the important mission, the Doge thing, that's Elon's purpose. And I agree with the purpose because he wants to save the currency and save us from a mountain of debt that could possibly make us insolvent quickly and have us like Venezuela type inflation if we don't do something about that. So much the government waste, abuse, and fraud, and mismanagement that he wants to clean that up to save the currency and it save us from going through a financial crazy time. It's going to help him too to have a stable environment to operate in. They were really in the path of destroying our everything. And there's global, people with money that use their money to destroy nations and make it cheap and all messed up, tear it up, then they buy it up cheap, then build it back, and they have everything. There's people that go around the world doing that stuff, and I think they were trying to do it in America, and the group of men,
Lord Hybrid is right.
The group of men who have taken over the government legally through the constitutional election process. There's a group of very determined Men took back over the country, mostly men. And they're not playing. They're not playing no game. So, hey man, I'm gonna try to help you understand Elon's mentality. Is that I'm trying to understand what's going on in Elon's mind. And the black women don't see this big thing coming, but they got to understand this is the president of the United States. The most powerful man in the United States is this man right here. Yo, you got to understand that it's your boy Lord Hybrid. There's gonna be an incoming black woman financial crisis coming in down the pipeline. You gotta understand this. And just look this is Elon Musk, the president of the United States. He just arrived in Congress along with Vivek Ramaswamy, the vice president. And this is what's pinned to the top of Elon Musk's profile. To improve the true economy, which is output of useful products and services, we need to shift people from low to negative productivity jobs in government to high productivity jobs in the private sector. This is what really matters at a fundamental level. Y'all don't understand how many black women, they're finding that many women in general are going to be the most hurt by this, but black women in particular, because they have the lowest amount of a family structure. You know, they don't like to come up under the authority and rulership of a husband or a man. So mostly they're single. And they're 100% relying on their job. Whereas because other races of people like whites and Latinos and Asians, Indians are more married, they'll probably have a husband who could support the family if she becomes unemployed. But when they're single, and some of them with children, and they become unemployed, this is hundreds of thousands to millions of women, particularly black women. They're in the government. 90% of them haven't been to the office since COVID, and they got mouse wigglers and stuff like that. They're actually just no-show jobs. They're getting paid. Hundreds of thousands and millions of these people. And Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, two highly skilled business analysts and operators, successful centimillionaires and billionaires. One just happens to be the richest human on earth, one of the smartest. Just come to town to address that issue of inefficiency. And they already have a lot of data. And so if you're looking at what's pinned to the top of this man's, it's just not just the latest tweet. This is pinned at the top. It's gonna be, yo, there's gonna be one of the things that I used to call American women is that they're subsidized. Like, they think they're so much better than third world women, but the only reason they went to college because they had a grant or a loan. The families didn't have enough money to send them to a university to get the degree. Then they come out in debt. So many of these women in government and in these other areas that's going to be cut, they have student loan debt. And they're about to lose their jobs. And they're lazy. lazy government employees. Now they're gonna have to actually go into the private sector and actually be productive. Men know about being productive. We have to be productive for the most part. Most of us are in the private sector. I have to be productive. I'm in the private sector. I just happen to be the owner of the business that I work for, and the business is. But I'm highly productive because I have to be to survive and profit and to continue to live, the comfortable lifestyle that I'm living. But this is a big. He represents. I actually think this will probably send a lot of black women in particular back into the kitchen where they belong. Because it's going to be hard out there. You're going to have to work hard for a long time if you want to be single. And there ain't no breaks. Just because you 45 now and your back hurt, you got to keep working. You got another 20 to 30 years. You're probably never going to be able to retire. Retirement ain't even a realistic thing, especially for them. They don't manage money well. Nor do they make much money. And here come Elon and Vivek. My thing is, my guess is that they'll be running back into the kitchen, your kitchen and my kitchen. They'll want to be back in the house. And they'll be forced to but it's going to be hard for them because they're like wild animals. Our predecessors and ancestors and stuff like that, they had it's like we got wild animals, but they had women that was raised up in the church. If you go back 70 years, 50 years, they had young women that was raised up in the church with morals and were trained to, were in the house with a woman who was a traditional woman. They were raised to be a traditional woman. And they were domesticated. But we would have to bring a wild animal into our home and try to domesticate. It's going to be a process to, tame them. If people accept them in. With me, I don't see myself accepting one into my home. But maybe a situation is possible. I don't know. Depending on how much control that I could have and be guaranteed. But it's a financial like when they say when the tide goes out, you can see who wasn't wearing no underwear. Yeah, the tide about to go out on them, and we're gonna see who's really independent and who's not. Because the government aspect of supporting them is really gonna be shaved back, and it's necessary to preserve our currency and our solvency. Something happening.
Yo, Lord Hybrid, I'm gonna agree with you too.
Yeah, it's a lot going on. It's a lot, of things that's coming at people, and many people see and many people don't see. So I think people need to be able to pay attention to what's going on, somewhat politically, but policy-wise. Because the left is pretty much collapsing in terms of credibility as well as leadership, and they're losing the people, and that's hurting women. I saw another thing where he had a diagram of like how many like left and right, like over the years, conservative versus liberal, and how they overlapped men's and women's, and the women is just going straight up like Bitcoin or XRP or something. I was like, damn. So that their economic situation in America is very bad. And the boss chicks, well, I think too many of them are trying to be men, and it's going bad for them. When trying to be a man goes wrong.
Hard. You're hard.
This is the same amount of success they're having out there in the career world and the business world. Same thing. In the weight room, when they try to be us, they don't have a lot of success. But yet they want to rebel and they want independence. And if you look at the real data, you know, you understand it. They're in a big mess. Now, if you look at how our boss chicks have been doing, I mean, Kamala, of course. Now, this is Kamala in it's the last night of the campaign, and she got to go give a speech to rally the troops. You know, and you know how Trump get. He be like, "Yeah, we're almost there. We won't turn back. We have our vision." You know, he's confident. You know, and they're tired. They've campaigned their butts off, but he's still strong-willed, and he energizes them. And then Kamala gives her speech.
Let's vote. Let's get out the 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 vote. Let's win. All right, let's get to work. 24 hours to go and
That was a hell of a speech. Let's get out the vote. 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 Oh my God. She was so terrible. And I think that the sisters, all y'all sisters working in the government that ain't been showing up for the last 2 years. Look, y'all dead. They're gonna have the AI and all the data, and they're gonna look at and review the productivity. Like, how many reports did you turn in? How many things you did? And they're gonna look at your email activity. They're gonna look at how productive you were. What did you produce? How many reports? How many cases did you close? And all that. And if you didn't do nothing for the last 2 years, they're gonna know it. So when you might as well prepare for these guys.
What would you say you do here?
They about to get that conversation. And unfortunate thing is they can't even lie because the AI gonna already be done computed in. They got hand them a sheet telling them this is how productive you've been. It's gonna be like, you know what I'm saying, 2.5% productive. That shit is gonna be funny, son. Oh God, I'm gonna enjoy that so much. Because after he read them reports and he handed that 2.5% or that 0.5% productivity for the last 2 years, next thing y'all gonna hear is,
get the fuck out of here.
That's what y'all ladies gonna be hearing from your boy. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's coming. I see it coming. I'm watching it come up over the horizon, and I'm seeing. I did a review of our sisters over the past few years, and their boss babes. You know, want to take a look at how the boss babes been doing.
She's out of here. She's out of here. She's out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. It's out of here. She's out of here. She's out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. Yeah, she's voted out. She's out. She's a wrap. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. Get her out of here. Security, get out of here. She cannot run. This is crazy. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. It's a wrap for you.
As a recap, the Democratic slate that will represent Thornton Township at the April 1st consolidated election reads as follows. For Supervisor, Napoleon Harris.
Get the fuck out of here.
She was replaced by a man with a man. A man who had the authority called a caucus, special caucus. He had the right to call a caucus or a recall. He chose the caucus. Everybody came, yay and nay, overwhelming yays. She's voted not out, but after her term, she can't run again. So her term ends next year. So these are government employees as well. She's the mayor and a town superintendent being paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to run the city in the ground. So now this is symbolic of DEI dying, and this is what's happening around this. These are the boss babes of America that have these high-powered jobs. They're really messing up. Really messing up. Give you another example. And I was collecting clips like yesterday and the day before. And then I didn't know if I was gonna be able to do the stream today. But then I said I'm gonna do it. And another one happened today. That was the lady that was crashing out in the beginning of the video. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. She did another one. That chick, she popped out today. Now, this chick.
Jury finding
Greenbelt with the verdict.
After 3 days of trial, 6.5 hours of deliberations, a jury finding Baltimore City's former top prosecutor Marilyn Mosby guilty in federal court.
I'm blessed. I have nothing else to say.
Marilyn Mosby walking out of the federal courthouse in Greenbelt to a sea of reporters after being convicted on 2 perjury charges. Mosby only repeating a familiar phrase she said throughout the trial. Her public defender, James Wida, staying silent.
We still have 2 counts pending, so we'll be doing a press release.
She's the city prosecutor, okay, and she has a public defender, and these people, this is the other side of it as to why they can't survive. You'll see later, I think in another video clip of this lady, but this is the first charge that she was convicted of, perjury.
Throughout the trial, her public defender, James Wida, staying silent. 2 perjury charges. Mosby only repeating a familiar phrase she said throughout the trial. Her public defender, James Wida, throughout the trial. Her public defender, James Wida, her public defender, James Wida, staying silent.
We still have 2 counts pending, so we'll be doing a press release, but that's all.
Meanwhile, federal prosecutors walking away with a win, but not answering questions. Mosby's perjury charges hinging on her travel businesses, Mahogany Elite. She claimed to have suffered a financial hardship and withdrew money from her city retirement account without paying a penalty. Prosecutors playing audio recordings.
Good morning, David. I have a question about my account.
Of Mosby calling the bank multiple times, asking questions about making withdrawals from her account.
Is there any way for me to withdraw the funds?
In May and again in December.
I need to figure out a way that I can get the money.
An FBI forensic accountant detailing Mosby's financial records, noting her spending habits, the lack of Mahogany Elite expenses, and telling the jury Mosby made more money in 2020 when she claimed financial hardship than she did in 2019. On the 3rd day of trial, Mosby electing not to testify, while her defense team tried to argue the pandemic crashed her plans to launch the travel business, the jury not buying it.
I'm blessed. I have nothing else to say.
Convicting former Baltimore City State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby of perjury after less than a full day of deliberations. Now Mosby awaits sentencing, which is yet to be scheduled. She faces up to 5 years in prison for each perjury count. But Marilyn Mosby's legal troubles are not over. She still faces 2 federal mortgage fraud charges stemming from those 2 Florida vacation homes, and that trial has yet to be scheduled. We're outside the federal courthouse in Greenbelt. Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
The guilty verdict comes 665 days after Mosby was first indicted on January 13th of 2022.
But Marilyn Mosby's legal troubles are not over. She still faces 2 federal mortgage fraud charges stemming from those 2 Florida vacation homes, and that trial has yet to be scheduled.
This is the other thing, man. These chicks have the financial IQ of a Pookie, and they do Pookie things financially. Like, you're a prosecutor. Why do you need 2 vacation homes in Florida when you might make 150, 200,000? Even if you make 250,000, you have a primary home in 2 Florida vacation properties. Okay, that's like, I could do that, but I wouldn't do it because I would need to get into debt that I could manage. I have the income to manage it, because as you know, I have no debt and I have really no bills, and I have a high income comparable to an average, American. I wouldn't do it. These people, not only do they not make that much money because they thinking they getting 150,000, they thinking that's money, and it's not money. Inflation happened. So that 150 don't mean what it used to mean 5 years ago. It definitely not 10 years ago. 150 10 years ago, you was good. I ain't saying you even could do that, what she doing, but you much better off with that same number than you are in current time. So they are terrible managers. They are Pookie-ish with money, mostly black women, because they're so hard-headed, because they don't have a man that they're connected to, because they're not under the rulership of a man, because they are very combative to men. And most of the single black women in my family that's 30s and up are not doing well. And I think that's the case with any situation. But if they are making like 150,000 is a decent income, if they're making that, they're living the lifestyle of a person that's making 750,000, 1.2 million. And they dig themselves in holes. And as men, we understand that we gotta build something over time to have a comfort level. You know, brothers are buying crypto, brothers see the moves being made politically with crypto. So brothers, people are buying crypto. People are starting waking up and say, hey, Trump's appointing a crypto guy. He has a crypto AI czar. The damn old SEC chief quit on his own. Niggas is leaving town because Trump is on his way in and they know they checkmated. So everybody, they dropping all the charges. Niggas leaving town. They quitting their jobs. Before you get there, they scared to be in. He like Suge Knight coming back. You know what I'm saying? Niggas don't want to deal with this man. The bureaucracies, people quitting, things are changing, man.
We're outside the federal courthouse in Greenbelt. Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
The guilty verdict comes 665 days after Mosby was first indicted on January 13th of 2022. Mosby addressed the media the following day, proclaiming her innocence.
I also need citizens who I am blessed to serve to know that I am innocent of the charges that have been levied against me, and I intend to fight.
Mosby has maintained her innocence over the past 2 years. The trial was supposed to take place in May of 2022, but it was postponed to September of 2022. In September, the trial was delayed again, this time just days before it was set to start. At that time, the trial was set for March of 2023. The delays came despite Mosby's insistence that she wanted a speedy trial.
What I'm asking for is that I be tried right now.
Oh, we're pushing for trial.
Because I know that I'm innocent. So I'm ready to go to trial tomorrow.
In 70 days. She said, try me as soon as possible. And that's what they're looking to do.
Put this on trial right now so I can prove my innocence.
In January of this year, Mosby's entire defense team asked to withdraw from her case, citing scheduling conflicts. The judge allowed them to leave, and Mosby was appointed public defenders. In February, the trial was delayed for a third time to allow Mosby's public defenders to get up to speed on the case. The trial started a little over a week ago with jury selection October 31st.
Throughout the legal process, Mosby and her defense team often claimed the case was a result of racist prosecution. In February of 2022, her defense team filed a motion to dismiss the case because they claimed it was racially motivated.
Marilyn Mosby is not the only one that's going to be on trial. The U.S. Attorney's Office for Maryland is going to be on trial. The criminal justice system and its attacks on black female progressive prosecutors.
The jury that convicted Mosby today is made up of both men and women of different races.
And we want to bring in defense attorney Jeremy Eldridge right now with Ian Lawyers. Jeremy, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Jeremy, what does today's verdict say about Ms. Mosby's past claims of racist prosecution?
Well, I think that the claims of whether it was targeted, whether it was racist or selective prosecution, I think those arguments fell on deaf ears. And it's really one very simple reason. Marilyn Mosby created pre-trial, whether it tainted the jury or not, this idea that she was going to come in, she was going to prove her innocence, And that led a lot of people, whether they're attorneys, members of the public, and possibly the jurors, to think that she was going to testify. Albeit it's a constitutional right to not testify. When you create this persona publicly of let me get into court, let me say my piece, and let me prove my innocence, not only are you shifting the burden away from the prosecution, which is her fault, but I think that the jurors wanted to hear her testify, and she chose not to.
And Jeremy, as Mackenzie brought up, Mosby is still facing another trial. Prosecutors say she lied about a tax lien on her home, on mortgage applications for 2 homes in Florida. That trial has not been scheduled yet.
See? Their money's all messed up. The whole fraud was she has a tax lien. That means you ain't paid your taxes. So you got a tax lien. So everything, you got 2 vacation homes in Florida off a prosecutor's salary. And you got a home where you live at in the city, and you're the city prosecutor. You got a public, so another sign of financial distress, public defender. You ain't got no lawyer money. Now, we find out the whole fraud thing was because you had a tax lien and you didn't report it on the mortgage application. They went back and found it. So you lied on the application. So you got a tax lien because you mismanaging. As soon as I get my tax bill every year for my property, I pay it. Like I write the check immediately and put it back in the mail. Then they send me a receipt. All my income tax, I just had a long meeting with my CPA. You know what I'm saying? And, we talking about the taxes and getting ready to file and how much and when and all that. So, you know what I'm saying? I gotta handle my shit, but this chick right here is like another sign of financial distress and mismanagement, personal financial mismanagement.
How do you see it playing out?
Well, first, the real question I think is, will we see a superseding indictment? Are we going to see a new set of charges relating to some of the tax issues that she wasn't even charged with? So is the current state of the indictment that she's facing in the second trial, is that character of that going to change? Secondly, now we know she didn't testify in the first trial where she said she was going to testify. And in fact, that's why the trials were severed. So are we going to see Maryland testify in this trial? Are we going to see the government change its case a little bit now that they know how she plans to present some of the evidence against her? And lastly, are we going to see the city council president, Nick Mosby, charged? And will that affect his choice to testify if he's called in a witness in the second case?
Interesting questions there. And Jeremy, when it comes to today's verdict, how might the judge decide this sentence, and what are the federal parameters, the guidelines for sentencing?
The federal sentencing guidelines, which are congressionally mandated and federally drawn up, they allow for both sides. And it's incredibly numerical. I hate to start there, no different than the state sentencing guidelines. But on the federal side, they're going to be sentencing memorandum that are filed on by both sides. They're going to have the character and background of Marilyn Mosby. There could be a lot of character letters. And I think we've seen this before with the pleas of Catherine Pugh and Darrell D'Souza, the former police commissioner, where members of the community are going to come forward. They're going to speak on her behalf. And even if her sentencing guidelines are 15 to 21 or 18 to 24, depending on how they're calculated, what you're actually going to see is Maryland going forth and saying, well, look, what is the point of incarcerating me? There are what are called variances or downward departures that she could argue to try to convince the judge that although the sentencing guidelines call for a sentence between these 2-month periods, that maybe it's not deserving. And the government could say quite the contrary. You know what? You didn't plead guilty. You had a trial. And because of some other reasons, you should be sentenced above that.
All right, we'll see what happens in the days ahead. Defense Attorney Jeremy Eldridge, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We appreciate it.
Have a good evening.
U.S. Attorney for Maryland Eric Barron also reacted to the jury's decision in a statement saying, quote, "We respect the jury's verdict and remain steadfastly committed to our mission to uphold the rule of law, keep our country safe, protect the civil rights of all Americans, and safeguard public property. Fox 45 News pressed Governor Wes Moore and Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott about the verdict this afternoon. We'll have their responses coming up at 10:30.
Today's verdict is just the latest chapter in Mosby's history of controversies. She first made national headlines months after she took office in 2015 when she indicted 6 Baltimore City police officers in the death of Freddie Gray. While some praised her decision, others criticized the indictments, calling them a reckless rush to judgment. Another controversy involved her frequent out-of-town travel. Although she maintained she did nothing wrong, she asked City Inspector General Isabel Cumming to investigate. The IG found Mosby spent 85 days out of office in 2018 through 2019 and did not get approval for 15 trips. 1 month after that finding in March of 2021, Marilyn Mosby stopped enforcing what she calls low-level crimes. And we've seen a number of questionable plea deals come from Mosby's office, including the case of convicted arsonist Luther Trent. He was released on a plea deal after serving less than 6 months in jail. Federal authorities later sentenced him to 12 years in prison. Mosby was voted out of office 1 year ago. Governor Wes Moore and Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott addressing today's guilty verdict in the federal trial of former Baltimore City State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby.
She was convicted on 2 counts of perjury by a federal jury in Greenbelt after a few hours of deliberation.
You know, no matter where you fall in this situation, this is a difficult day for the city of Baltimore, and I'm praying for her children because I know how difficult this must be for them.
The jury has spoken.
His 2 sisters voted out. They voted out Marilyn, and she got convicted of perjury. They voted out the super mayor Tiffany Henyard. And what's her name? Because they're such terrible managers of their finances, it makes them vulnerable to corruption. So Ms. Mosby, she already got convicted of perjury, and now she got to deal with her mortgage fraud charges.
Also, guilty verdicts on 3 of 4 total charges against her. Will Marilyn Mosby face time in prison?
Now at 11 o'clock, we are in your corner breaking down what we know about the next steps now for the one-time Baltimore City State's Attorney. Welcome to the news at 11, everyone. I'm Rick Ritter.
And I'm Vic Carter. It's been a stunning turn for the woman who had led prosecutions only to find herself out of office and a criminal defendant in federal court.
WJZ investigator Mike Halgren has been following the trials.
Federal. It's the feds.
Every step of the way, he's breaking down this high-profile case from Greenbelt tonight.
Marilyn Mosby appeared stunned by this verdict. She had to be steadied by one of her attorneys in court as it was read. She later prayed with supporters before leaving the courthouse.
Ms. Mosby, can you say anything? Any comment?
No comment.
Already said no comment. The former 2-term top Baltimore City prosecutor said nothing leaving court, surrounded by supporters and now facing prison time after being convicted of a single count of mortgage fraud. That count related to this oceanfront condo in Longboat Key, Florida, which Marilyn Mosby testified was her refuge. It was the second vacation home she bought, an attempt, she said, to gain financial independence with her marriage on the rocks. In order to secure the deal, her mortgage broker recommended.
You hear the dumb shit they say? I mean, I hope she's lying.
In order to secure the deal, her mortgage broker recommended she write this gift letter, where her husband at the time, Nick Mosby, wired her $5,000. She later prayed with supporters before leaving the courthouse. Ms. Mosby, can you say anything? Any comment?
No comment.
Surrounded by supporters and now facing prison time after being convicted of a single count of mortgage fraud. That count related to this oceanfront condo in Longboat Key, Florida, which Marilyn Mosby testified was her refuge. It was the second vacation home she bought, an attempt, she said, to gain financial independence with her marriage on the rocks. It was the second vacation home she bought, an attempt, she said, to gain financial independence with her marriage on the rocks.
It was the second vacation home she bought, an attempt, she said, to gain financial independence with her marriage on the rocks.
So she thinks that buying vacation homes will give her more financial independence. This is what they saying this is what she said in court. She told the judge and the jury, well, I decided to buy 2 vacation homes in Florida that I couldn't afford because my marriage is breaking up. And I felt this would give me financial independence. Yeah, these chicks are brain dead, man. They don't know anything, man. It's like financially, they're like, and why I say that they will return to the kitchen goes all the way back to my old, I think it was the evolution of something, but it was talking about, you know, the relationship between man and woman has always been economic, even back to primitive times. It was a deal. It was certain people did certain tasks, and you know, usually more the domestic has been the woman's job. And the women never really wanted to go out there and hunt and fight tigers or whatever they was doing out there in them bushes to get the meat back. They didn't want to go out there. They was cool doing their domestic thing, but in our Western society, excuse me, people, you know, I think women got programmed to think that the domestic role was oppressive. And so now they're angry and they think of like getting rich means lavish, 100% lavish. And I'm talking about soon as they get the salary, lavish, save nothing, debt, tax liens, but you got mad vacation houses you could not afford, really. You can't afford them at all because you got tax liens and you got a public defender. You ain't got no money. You think if I'm getting, you know, I'm getting indicted or whatever the fuck they do to indict you or charge you or whatever the fuck, if I'm getting charged, you think I'm gonna have a motherfucking public defender? No, nigga. No.
In order to secure the deal, her mortgage broker recommended she write this gift letter, where her husband at the time, Nick Mosby, wired her $5,000. Prosecutors tracked the money, uncovering it was not a gift at all, and instead Mosby paid it herself in violation of federal law. She beat a second count of mortgage fraud regarding her home near Walt Disney World. Jurors believed her testimony that it was an honest mistake she failed to report a federal tax lien. Nick Mosby testified he was to blame, hiding his financial mess from her out of fear she would leave him, which she eventually did.
We love Maryland. We love Maryland.
A steady group of supporters stood by.
It ain't just women. If you listen to what they were talking about his finances, this is her husband who she left.
He was to blame, hiding his financial mess from her out of fear she would leave him. Federal tax lien. Nick Mosby testified he was to blame, hiding his financial mess from her, hiding his financial mess from her, hiding his financial mess from her out of fear she would leave him, hiding his financial mess from, hiding his financial mess, hiding his financial mess, hiding his financial mess, hiding his financial mess from her out of fear she would leave him, which she eventually did.
It's a lot of, it's a whole lot of dumb niggas with money too.
Come on, man.
I'm not bullshitting. It's a lot of niggas like men with bad money knowledge who do stupid things. I got really, you got average money knowledge people, and usually they're in debt. They have a job. They're in debt for their house usually, and possibly their cars. Like my buddy is for both. Like I said, my house is paid for. All my cars is bought cash. Zero debt. Yeah, but I have friends, average man financial literacy is still terrible. Because now, like I said, I've learned how to do things. I learned how to, I understood the importance of a disposable income. Your disposable income is your only opportunity for freedom. So I always lived with the ability to have disposable income, and I would just be starting little businesses. Save. Sometime I just save up for like 6 months. Couldn't save much, but in non-inflated dollars over 6 months, that's a nice little, something that you can do something with. Maybe a nice little 10,000. Back then, that was, I remember the first time I saved up 10,000, I was like, yo, I got 10 G's. Yep, I was in my mid to late 30s. Saved up 10 G's real quick. I was like, yo. Nobody had no 10 G's, man. But I was working my job and just stacking my paper. I was rooming with one of my homies. So I was just stacking it. And I just think the guys, a lot those type of dudes, and there's probably a few dudes with bullshit jobs in the government, brothers or just guys in general. Yeah. Now overall, that's going to reduce the cost of labor. But as we can see, these chicks in these high positions, look, 2 million government employees dumped on the labor market. Plus, you just brought in some cheap labor, even though he's getting rid of them. He's really just want to get rid of the criminals, and hopefully get rid of the non-productive ones that we paying for in hotels and shit and get them up out of there. The criminals and them, then the one that's just doing their thing, they're probably gonna just let them stay. But now you got another 2 million government workers coming into the workforce that they don't have the government program to lay up on, because Elon and Vivek and the AI and the people they done hired and all these senators are gonna slice all that stuff. They already talking about welfare as a life jacket, not a lifestyle. Putting caps on it. Like niggas can't lay on it forever no more. Niggas got a limit. Yo, can't be on Section 8 forever no more, chick. You gotta have to work because there's no more government jobs, no more no-shows. So you have to actually really work. They're dumping a whole bunch of you guys in, and they got the migrants. So the labor supply is probably gonna swell by 30%. So labor price is going down because now y'all gotta work. And a lot of y'all lazy women gonna be looking for a man to get up under. Yeah, but Marilyn Mosley.
A steady group of supporters stood by her through it all.
We know what this trial is all about. It's about going after the FOP and the killer cops in America. She stood up for us, and she was tried for doing the right thing.
They remember her ultimately unsuccessful prosecution of 6 Baltimore police officers for the death of Freddie Gray, a move that made international news in 2015.
We have probable cause to file criminal charges.
In November, Mosby was found guilty of perjury for improper COVID-related withdrawals from her retirement account.
Any comment, Mr. Wyder?
Nope. Her public defender had no comment leaving court. The U.S. attorney who brought the case told WJZ, We humbly respect the court's considered rulings, opposing counsel's zealous advocacy, and the wisdom of both jury verdicts in this case, and we remain focused on our mission to uphold the rule of law.
Mosby faces 30 years in prison for this single count of mortgage fraud and 10 years in prison for the perjury counts. A sentencing date has not yet been set. In Greenbelt, Mike Helgren, WJZ.
Hey, Mike, nice coverage of those huge developments. Let's turn to the...
This is WJZ News.
A lot of these white women got husbands to fall back on. I think like 80% of the black women ain't married. They single. Some of them got kids. They're going to be out of options. The subsidies are going to be ending. I guess education subsidies will still exist, but yeah, the subsidies, the living subsidies is over. Y'all going to have to earn your keep or go up under a man. And I think us men need to have written documents and signed documents of our expectations, even if you just get in a regular relationship. These are what I expect. Clearly communicated terms and enforcement from you, or null and void to go on about your business. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna have to be written down things, because all that trying to they're lazy. They're gonna be resentful because they can't survive. They may be coming out of working a job that was stressing them out, but if they didn't work, the homeless rate gonna go up for them. The homeless rate gonna go up for them. But many of them gonna be coming off of stressful jobs and may be more on. I know the whatever them pills is they be on, that's about to go up. Invest in that, buy them stocks. Yeah, they gonna get more on that, and some of them may be stressed out coming off a job situation and try to land in on you, and like some of them gonna start looking kind of good too. So if you got your stuff pretty solid, if you think about interacting with them, it has to be, you have to 100% dictate terms, written terms, dictated and enforced. And just like if you don't do your job, you get a job, you don't do the job, they fire you. Got to be like that. But yeah, she got found guilty of perjury and mortgage fraud. These sister boss chick with these high powered jobs and these HBCU degrees. You saw Kamala. Oh my God. I wouldn't feel comfortable. I would not send my kid to an HBCU. I'm sorry. I wouldn't. Not even Howard, bro. Nope. Because after seeing how dumb Kamala was, I don't trust that university. I don't want my kid to be that dumb. And I think that's the best one in the country. Made Howard look real bad.
Justice for Maryland! Justice for Maryland! Justice for Maryland! Justice for Maryland! Justice for Maryland!
Hi, my name is Anaya Mosby. Thank you to everyone who supported my mom. We are so grateful for everyone who signed the petition for President Biden to pardon my mom.
Good afternoon. My name is Nylan Mosby, and I want to thank all of you, friends, family, and the city of Baltimore, and the entire country for showing up for my mom. And her fight for justice has inspired me to become a prosecutor.
Wow, yeah.
You are so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
It's for all of us.
Yeah. Yeah. Love you, Maryland.
Proverbs 3:5-6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. Submit to him in all of your ways, and he will make your path straight. I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you for the fight. Thank you to everyone who signed that petition. Thank you for the federal public defender team that so
Pookie. I'm gonna tell you something, Pookie. You cute, and I know when you was younger, you was super fine. Pookie. And I got to call you Pookie because you done just got convicted of felonies by the feds. You living like Pookie. Pookie, he just selling dope. But y'all ended up with the same outcome. You a Pookie too. You broke like Pookie. You broke the law like Pookie. You in the court, got a court date like Pookie, and you about to be on probation like Pookie. You and Pookie ain't no different, except for you a lot prettier than Pookie. You a Pookie too. You a Phuket. But you fine as hell. I still might hit that. That motherfucker fine. Let's hear this bullshit.
eloquently advocated on my behalf. Thank you. I swear God sent angels into my life to see me when I felt like I wasn't being seen. And I'm just so grateful to each and every one of you, to the 14 civil rights organizations that have signed on to that pardon. Urban League, NAACP, Win with Black Women, my brother Ben Crump.
Get the fuck out my face with that bullshit. No, stop it.
They live in they pookies, man. She's a pretty pookie with a nice weave. And you know, the sad part about it, my pops told me a long time ago. He was like, he said he could get any woman he wanted back in his day. I don't believe him, but he said he could. And he said it's good not to be super good looking because you have to use your mind. And as I got older, I could say, you know what, I think that is a good thing, actually. But a lot of these good looking people got over, especially women. And I'm particularly talking about women. The same thing with Kamala. Kamala was an attractive young woman. If you seen her looking all sexy when she was with that bald-headed black talk show dude, I forgot his name. But she was dating him. Willie Brown, he put her on, you know what I mean? Because she was hot. And a lot of these sexy chicks are moving up in politics, but they've been relying on their looks and they really don't have the smarts, and they're not surviving in their environments. They're crashing out on ignorant pookie ass shit. Like y'all chicks need a man to be under his leadership. And what y'all should be looking for is a man that got his shit together, and you should be looking to get told what to do by that man and obey exactly what he say. Because if you out here by yourself, y'all are failing. Y'all motherfuckers is about to see these dudes.
What would you say you do here?
Y'all motherfuckers about to have to actually produce, and you haven't been.
Lord Hybrid is right.
You guys haven't been producing. You guys have been failing. You guys have been getting voted out. Now the DEI is dead. DEI can't employ you anymore. You know, the new politicians that are in charge, they hate DEI. They're anti-DEI. It's one of the things that they're actually going in to destroy. And they're coming in very powerful. Trump's already running Washington, D.C. Everybody already flew in and kissed the ring. They kneeling to this nigga. Trump is king, dog. For real. So everybody like, damn, this nigga back. And they want to make a deal. Even the enemies. So there's big change coming. And all I can hope is that them degrees help you. Oh yeah, this the funny part. Mosley, after she got convicted of everything, she got convicted of perjury, she got convicted of mortgage fraud, and she filed her appeal.
Update we first brought to you on WJZ News at noon. A judge upheld Marilyn Mosby's mortgage fraud conviction today, rejecting a defense motion to acquit the former Baltimore City State's attorney.
Mosby also must surrender her passport ahead of sentencing.
WJZ investigator Mike Helgren has covered every single development in this case. He joined us live from U.S. District Court in Greenbelt.
And Mike, we understand Mosby had a lot of supporters there today.
She did, Vic and Denise. They arrived in a large bus and they packed the courtroom. In the end, the judge here did not buy the defense argument that the crimes happened outside of Maryland and should not have been tried here. Marilyn Mosby headed into court surrounded by supporters.
We recognize you smiling down on us right now. That every judge, every state's attorney, every jury know that you are in charge.
They prayed outside the federal courthouse, but those prayers were not answered with an acquittal of the former top Baltimore City prosecutor. Mosby's public defenders argued her conviction for mortgage fraud involving this condo on Florida's Gulf Coast should be overturned, that prosecutors could not prove lies involving a $5,000 gift that her then husband, City Council President Nick Mosby, gave her to close on the property were made in Maryland. Defense attorney Maggie Grace told the judge Mosby could have signed the gift letter in Delaware, Virginia, Pennsylvania, or Washington, D.C., while federal prosecutors pointed to Mosby's Bank of America transactions, including this Cockeysville Five Guys purchase made just days before the gift. We literally don't see any movement outside Maryland at all, prosecutor Aaron Zielinski told the judge. We don't believe we need an expert about a Five Guys in Cockeysville.
Trial judges are extremely reluctant to overturn the verdict of a trial jury. And so this particular issue will be given full consideration by the appeals court.
You think she's going to appeal all this?
Absolutely, she'll appeal.
Ms. Mosby, do you plan to appeal? Is this a miscarriage of justice? Mosby did not answer questions, leaving court after losing her argument, surrounded by supporters.
It's about righteousness!
She thanked them, and they continued defending her.
But you gonna come at this one black woman over a gift letter? Come on now. That is ridiculous.
The judge also ordered Mosby to surrender her passport by next week. Her lawyers fought that, saying she had a travel business and may need to get away from the media after the stress of the trial. It's unnecessary to restrict her freedom, public defender James White said. It's unfathomable she would leave her two daughters, the most important people in her life.
Yeah, why are they taking it now? You know why they're taking it now? They're taking it now to further rub dirt in her eye.
Now, Mosby is scheduled to be sentenced on May 23rd for both perjury and mortgage fraud cases. She faces a maximum of 40 years behind bars, but it is highly unlikely she will get anywhere near that sentence. She also faces a forfeiture hearing where she could have to give up money and property. Live in Greenbelt, Mike Helgren, WJZ.
So the boss chick is got voted out, got found guilty of perjury and mortgage fraud, lost her appeal, and is now facing prison and forfeiture, meaning they'll take your house, they'll take your vacation home, they'll take your car, they'll take your stuff, they'll take your money. Well, obviously, she doesn't have any money. This is where the boss chick, yo, they doing their thing out here, son. And they think, I guess the judges and all of them supposed to have, mercy on them, not prosecute them, or not prosecute her. These DEI hires.
They don't give a fuck.
No. This is how they do it. Manless with jobs that if they manage their lives correctly, they could probably turn into something. So that's Maryland. Oh, I forgot about this lady. Lord have mercy. Remember this one? This sister?
The Georgia State Supreme Court ruling Douglas County probate judge Christina Peterson be removed from the bench. According to a decision issued today, Peterson violated multiple rules in the Code of Judicial Conduct. This decision comes days after Peterson was arrested at a nightclub in Buckhead. Good afternoon, I'm Rick Fullbaum.
And I'm Lana Harris. So Peterson now faces 2 charges: simple battery against a police officer and felony willful obstruction of law enforcement by use of threats of violence. The Georgia Supreme Court says Peterson is not eligible to be elected or appointed to any judicial office in the state for at least 7 years.
Now at noon, the Georgia State Supreme Court ruling Douglas County probate judge Christina.
This is the part to where they're not talking about in the media is actual. I want to know the performance of these empowered black women. So all 3 of the first 3 that I showed you have been voted and kicked out. Okay. The super mayor voted out. And she's hated. They cheered when she was voted out or voted ineligible to run again. So they say we ain't giving you a chance to win. You can't run again. That's her result. So she's out. This is the probate judge in Georgia. Tiffany Henya, she's in Illinois. Then Marilyn Mosley, I think she was in Baltimore, somewhere like that. She was the city prosecutor for Baltimore. Tiffany Henya was the mayor of Dalton and the town supervisor. She was double dipping. She on her way out of a job. Yeah, so Tiffany Henya, Marilyn Mosby, and now this chick. And what do they say about her?
Now at noon, the
Felony willful obstruction of law enforcement by use of threats of violence.
Conduct. This decision comes days after Peterson was arrested at a nightclub in Peterson was arrested at a nightclub in Peterson was arrested at a nightclub in Peterson was arrested at a nightclub in
The judge is at the nightclub fighting the police.
In Buckhead. Good afternoon, I'm Rick Fullbaum.
And I'm Lana Harris. So Peterson now faces 2 charges: simple battery against a police officer and felony willful obstruction of law enforcement by use of threats of violence. The Georgia Supreme Court says Peterson is not eligible to be elected or appointed to any judicial office in the state. The Supreme Court says Peterson is not eligible to be elected or is not eligible to be eligible to be elected, eligible to be elected, is not eligible to be not eligible to be elected or not eligible to be elected or appointed to any judicial office in the state. Not eligible to be elected or appointed to any judicial office in the state. Not eligible to be elected or appointed to any judicial office in the state.
They're getting voted out. They're getting voted out. They're getting blocked from coming back. They're getting kicked out. They're getting to know the black woman. They're getting to know why they're the least married. They're having to actually deal with them.
affiliations or connections. Be quiet. Sit down. You will lose your seat. They won't vote for you. Fight. Don't fight. What the do I have to do in this council in order to get respect as a black woman?
Shut the fuck up! They raising hell at City Hall as a council person. And you got to work with this, or they fighting at the cops at the club, at the nightclub, the judges at the nightclub, fighting with the cops and threatening them.
An extraordinary development tonight in the long-running investigation into Douglas County Judge Christina Peterson.
In a rare move, a hearing panel decided Peterson is guilty of, quote, systemic incompetence and should not remain in office. Fox 5 I-Team reporter Randy Travis explains.
Did you want to take a break?
Christina Peterson did not do herself any favors during 7 days of hearings beginning last September. The JQC hearing panel's report criticized her for not taking any responsibility for the 30 counts of judicial misconduct lodged against her.
I just don't have memories of my dad. I don't know who he is.
The most troubling, wrote the panel, Peterson's decision to jail this woman for trying to amend her marriage certificate to include the real name of her recently discovered father.
Did you go to this hearing with any idea that you may be going to jail?
No.
PJ Skelton served 2 days of a 20-day jail sentence for contempt before her husband could pay a $500 fine. Such a hasty and shockingly disproportionate reaction is the hallmark of Peterson's intemperance, wrote the panel. The report criticized Peterson's attempt at this meeting to get her HOA board to settle a lawsuit she had filed, even though she knew the HOA was represented by an attorney. Peterson's attempts to avoid responsibility for these clear violations bordered on the farcical, severely eroding her credibility with the hearing panel.
You cannot go in this building, and eventually she went in.
The sheriff's office said Peterson ignored their orders and held a wedding after hours, allowing people inside without deputies present. She once hit a panic button when a deputy was late escorting her to court, causing a temporary panic among security. And when county staff criticized her actions, it quickly triggers allegations of obstructionism or even racism. These communications and actions reveal a judge who publicly vilifies colleagues, is quick to threaten them with unnecessary legal action, and generally projects a spiteful and vainglorious persona. 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 And generally projects a spiteful and vainglorious persona.
Getting to know you. Getting to know you. Getting to know you. You're getting to know the sisters. Working with them. Especially empowering them. They're failing miserably.
I'm the first African American female and Democrat. Yes.
All that. Look, that's DEI, and this is what DEI has brought into our society. These incompetent people being empowered and going out here, and I mean they're in government. Why be at the city hall doing this with your colleagues?
Here, when I make a mistake, I will be clear. I don't hate you as a white woman. I don't hate you as a white man. I am sick and tired of this body so stupidly racially divided, so afraid, so depraved. People with no faith. Because they are afraid of they're losing their investment. They're afraid of bargaining. They're afraid of leveraging. These people have, oh my God, I can't even call you cowards because desperation deserves mercy. here's a redistricting. Fine, we give it to a white woman. Can we all get along? Can we get together? Can we love each other now? Can we make sure that black and brown babies don't die? Can we make sure that cops don't kill?
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, man. That's what's going on with the sisters. The boss sisters. They bossing up.
Never celebrated or congratulated.
Vainglorious persona.
I'm the first African American female and Democrat. Yes. I was never celebrated or congratulated. The first, on my day of swearing in, I was sworn in by Judge Emerson. I received my first JQC complaint. On my day of swearing in, I was sworn in by Judge Emerson. I received my first JQC complaint.
Peterson's main defense was her inexperience. A judge who publicly vilifies colleagues, is quick to threaten them with unnecessary legal action, and generally projects a spiteful and vainglorious persona.
I'm the first African American female and Democrat. Yes. I was never celebrated or congratulated.
That's the DEI entitlement. You get a job and they're supposed to celebrate you, and they said celebrated and praised, or what the bitch say. So because she's a black woman, she should be, what did she say?
I was never celebrated or congratulated.
She should be celebrated and congratulated that she got a job. And I've never gotten a job and been celebrated or congratulated. I got a job, and then they was like, okay, we need you to do this, that, and the other. I'm black too. I might be a male. I've been the first black male in a position, but I was never celebrated or congratulated. It was just like, all right, you got the job. She wanted a parade.
On my day of swearing in, I was sworn in by Judge Emerson. I received my first JQC complaint.
Peterson's main defense was her inexperience as a judge, a problem she promised has been addressed through additional training. But the panel was not buying it. The report also cited multiple examples of failure to actually do her job, needlessly delaying petitions before her office. The hearing panel said Peterson was guilty of systemic incompetence. Judges are expected to act in a manner that promoted the integrity and ability of systemic incompetence. Peterson was guilty of systemic incompetence, systemic incompetence, systemic incompetence, systemic incompetence, systemic incompetence.
Systemically incompetent. That means can't do the job at all. Systemically, that means like everything you doing is wrong if you're systemically incompetent. So I'm saying these are the results of the Black Boss Babe. This is the results that they're getting in public situations where lots of people are being able to see this. They're being tried in public court. They're being convicted. They're being blocked from being able to run again. Two of them got blocked from being able to run again. Henyard and the last one, the judge, blocked. The other one got voted out, charged, and convicted. I've been seeing these cases pop up over the last 4 years, and I've been putting them on my channel. Shout out my man Eagle Eye. See you out there. So you got this going on at the same time. You got Elon and Vivek in the White House, and you got everybody bowing down. And what they want to do is going to be what's done. And y'all don't, and certain people don't see this coming.
Today, the Biden administration kicks off a nationwide tour to promote economic recovery in their plan. It needs to hit big, especially for one of the hardest hit demographics in this pandemic, and that is Black women in America. The latest jobs report shows for Black women, they are not recovering as quickly as their white counterparts economically. And right now, Black women only make 66 cents for every dollar paid to a white man in this country. So Goldman Sachs just came out with a plan to invest $10 billion in 1 million Black women by 2030. Try to tackle this issue. Margaret Anadou is with me now. She's the global head of sustainability and impact for Goldman Sachs asset management business. Also the youngest woman to ever be named youngest a partner at the firm. Margaret, it's very good to have you. Let's talk about the numbers here. I mean, you guys have data that shows that Black women hold 90% less wealth in America now than white men. It has only gotten worse. It's increased since the 80s. And it is happening at every stage of a Black woman's life. How can even $10 billion address this crisis?
So what we think we can do with the $10 billion is really
data that shows that named try to tackle this issue. Margaret Anadou is with me now. She's the global head of sustainability and impact for Goldman Sachs asset management business. Also the
That's a fake job. That's a DEI job. Those jobs are going away.
Now she's the global head of sustainability and impact for Goldman Sachs asset management business. Also the youngest is with me now. She's the global head of sustainability and impact for Goldman Sachs.
Sustainability and impact. Yeah, that job's about to be gone. About to see these guys.
What would you say you do here?
Global head of sustainability and impact for Goldman Sachs asset management business. Also the youngest woman to ever be named youngest a partner at the firm. Margaret, it's very good to have you.
Damn. They made her a DEI partner. So just because she's Black and she's a woman, they made her a partner, but she's over sustainability and impact. She ain't over, I would imagine there's a lot more important things than sustainability and impact that affects the bottom line. She just there to tell them, you know, how Black women, not men, women.
Let's talk about the numbers here. I mean, you guys have data that shows that Black women hold 90% less wealth in America now than white men. It has only gotten worse. It's increased since the 80s. And it is happening at every stage of a Black woman's life.
Because they spend and have bad money habits at every stage of their lives. My aunt is 90 years old, 91 or 92. She's broke. She left her husband or he left her. They got a divorce. I don't know nothing about what happened. She went out there and got a bigger house than what she needed late in life that she couldn't afford, and she's in financial ruin. She's broke and it's terrible. Young, they even worse. Hair, nails, as we demonstrated. As we demonstrated, when they start making a high salary, they start just living it up. They don't think, you know, this is just a job. Let me create disposable income, and I have to build something. A man gonna think, well, this job is cool, but let me save my money. He'll try to build something, even if it just build his investment account. Some people like me gonna try to build a business. They don't think like that. They just start spending the money. And then when something goes bad with their job, they're in an asset debt. They got tax liens. They got too much stuff that they can't afford. They're making $175,000 and they live in the lifestyle of a $890,000 person. That's what's wrong with them. They ain't got nothing to do with the white man.
How can even $10 billion address this crisis?
So what we think we can do with the $10 billion is really start to invest in the areas that are contributing to that wealth gap. So one of the things that we explore in the research Black Womenomics is all of the pieces that really build up to that wealth gap. And what it demonstrates is that all the key factors that actually help someone build economic prosperity in this country and build that wealth across whether it's access to capital for entrepreneurship, housing where we see lots of equity built, things like healthcare access that make you healthy to be in the workforce and move your life forward. All of these areas we see significant disadvantage for Black women. And so the idea behind the $10 billion is if we can invest in solutions in those space, right? Quality, affordable housing, access to quality healthcare in communities, access to capital for Black women to grow their businesses and hire more employees in their community, we can start.
I'm sorry, but I don't know no Black women in my community that's hiring people. Maybe in your community, my community, they're not hiring people. I have seen them going into business and try to go into business, little restaurants and stuff, and I've seen them not make no money and go out of business. I've seen soul food restaurants, women owned, out of business in a few years. A lot of times over my life. And so they talking about the solution is to give them more. That's not the solution. They have to learn how to manage better. Manage their lives, manage their finances, manage their decision making, manage their relationships. Part of that, managing themselves, is learning how to be under the authority and rulership of a man and how to obey a man and be what a man needs you to be. I mean, and we are to the point where we better, like, I'm better off without a woman financially. So bringing one into my situation isn't something that makes me comfortable. It makes me uncomfortable. Because a lot of women's financial habits, especially within marriages, end up negatively impacting the man. And she's saying, hey, we need to give them this, give them that, give them. Like, they need to know how to operate in the market. Nobody didn't give me nothing. And most entrepreneurs, nobody gave nothing. They built their businesses. And most of them came from regular working and middle-class people just like everybody else. You can't give entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship, you have to develop that within yourself, and you have to do it.
Start to narrow those gaps. And it's not just about those women. And so the idea behind the $10 billion is if we can invest in solutions in those space, right? Quality, affordable housing, access to quality healthcare in communities, access to capital for Black women to grow their businesses and hire more employees in their community, we can start to narrow those gaps. And it's not just about those 1 million Black women specifically, but it's about their families, it's about their communities. And that's why we think we're going to get just the broader economic lift out of it in terms of economic growth, job creation. And that's why we're focusing on Black women.
One of the things I think is fascinating about this is you've been spearheading this. You're the youngest Black woman ever to make partner at Goldman. You were 37 years old. Most of the people who built this at the company are Black women. I think 6 leads on it are Black women. And then you look at one of your partners, for example, Dr. Montgomery Rice. She is, of course, the dean of Morehouse Medical School. What's interesting to me is this isn't just about injecting capital directly into small businesses run by Black women. This is about dealing with things like maternal mortality, which is 12 times higher for Black women here in New York City than for white women.
They're aborting half of the babies. The Black women in New York City, half of the babies get aborted. Half. So after you had 3 abortions, now you decide to carry one, you might have some damage to where you have infant mortality or miscarriage, stillborn or something. You done violated yourself because Oprah told you. Oprah and Kamala.
It seems like a unique approach.
So I think there are two very unique things about the approach that we're really excited about. One, you mentioned Dr. Valerie Montgomery Rice. There's so much talk about Black women and the role that we play in society today and what we need, but there's not enough asking Black women for what we think the solutions are, what we think the ideas are that are going to move.
That's where they're going to lose because they don't know what they need. They too stupid to know what they need. Just like my aunt, she's broke. And my uncle staying with her. And he was like, yeah, her house was in such bad condition. So he's helping a little bit with that. And he's like, yeah, she ain't got no stove. The stove broke. She cook on hot plates. I was like, damn. So I bought her a stove and had it delivered to her house from Lowe's or whatever. And she was telling me when she called me to thank me, she was like, I could keep cooking on them hot plates. You could have sent me that money. I'm like, I ain't sending you no money. But I want to say thank you. Okay. Cause this, that, and the other, and I'm broke and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I know. And she was like, well, they told me they might give me a loan. So I applied for the loan and they denied me. I was like, if you broke, why would you even apply for a loan? You know what I'm saying? So it's not about, but they don't have a chance or it's tilted against them. It's about they're stupid and they're terrible with money. And this is going to fail because you got a woman leading it, a Black woman leading it with a panelist. They always want to leave out the Black man. Always want to. It's not about Black people no more. It's about Black women. If you read this thing, America's Black women hold more than 90% less wealth than American white men. That's a ridiculous statement to begin with because you can't compare Black women to a white man. Like the white man, overall, like most Black women and most Black men, if you compare their productivity, their knowledge level, you got Elon in this number. You got Bill Gates and all of those billionaires, which most of them is white. You ain't gonna have no Black woman billionaire. They can't even get a job and use that money correctly. They're not gonna run a $1 billion company. And then even the ones that's educated in the corporate world, carrying a large amount of debt and still trying to live a high lifestyle. They think I make 100,000. I got to get as much lifestyle as possible out of that 100,000, even more, even if I got to go into more debt. No calculations to see what the future. Just got to get it. Terrible, Negro, Pookie, ignorant, and it's nothing that $10 billion is going to do to help these people.
Us forward. And so part of this initiative through our advisory council with Black women leaders like Dr. Montgomery Rice, but more broadly around the country and who we partner with, it's really about putting Black women's voices at the center. What do they need? You can't impact a community without asking them what they need and getting their feedback and input. The other thing that I think is really unique about the approach is just being holistic, right? We have a long history with providing access to capital for entrepreneurs and helping them grow their businesses. I think if you look at the research and how expansive these challenges are, for example, it's not particularly helpful to get a small business loan if you don't have quality childcare to send your kids to advance that goal. It's not helpful to get a small business loan when you can't get a COVID vaccine in your community. And so by building out the broader infrastructure that supports being holistic, right? We have a and helping them grow their businesses. I think if you look at the research and how expansive these challenges are, for example, it's not particularly helpful to get a small business loan if you don't have quality childcare to send your kids to advance that goal. It's not.
See that? So now you gotta give them a loan and pay for to watch their kids because they ain't got no man. They single. I know this educated chick who's probably in her 40s now, doesn't have a man. She has a job. a DEI job. She got made partner. Maybe they'll keep her around. But I think if it's about productivity and bottom line, she won't survive much longer because now DEI is dying. And black women, they have been singled out as the black people to help. We need to help black people. Yeah, the women, black women.
It's not helpful to get a small business loan when you can't get a COVID vaccine in your community. And so
you need a childcare, a COVID vaccine. Oh my God.
by building out the broader infrastructure that supports Black women, again, across all these facets of a Black woman's life, where she goes to the doctor, where she lives, where she learns, where she works, that's where we think we can have a real impact by having that holistic approach.
You know, it's interesting. Goldman Sachs just came out yesterday with this research note, and they said the economy is going to be gangbusters. I mean, they're predicting 8.5% growth for the U.S. economy in the end of this year, the fourth quarter, 4% unemployment, which would be a big improvement. But if you look at Black unemployment now, for Black men, it's over 10%. For Black women, it's almost 9%. It's double what it is for their white counterparts. I guess my concern is, like, that's a great projection, but it doesn't look from these numbers, Margaret, like it will be equally shared by Black men and women in this country.
Yeah, I think there was no more stark data around the uneven recovery than what we saw in the jobs report, which you highlighted, right? Unemployment across the country decreasing, seeing that growth, seeing us start to, move forward from this pandemic. And yet in that same report, Black women's unemployment increased, right? The disproportionate role that Black women are playing in hospitality role, lower wage healthcare jobs. So I think it really speaks to and really validates what we're doing with this approach.
Economic recovery.
You guys are low wage workers primarily. And now you got all those degrees and that debt, and you're proven to be, at least on the public side, where we can see where you individuals are being empowered. We're seeing a lot of what they called systemic incompetence. Systemic incompetence. That means you didn't know how to do nothing at all as far as the job. And she displayed that. She didn't have the correct temperament. She didn't have the morality. She didn't have the judgment in terms of treating people fairly and not abusing people. She didn't have personal character conduct in public, like going out to the nightclub and fighting with the cops and threatening them. And they wonder why they in last place economically. And then say, well, somebody need to solve that problem. Goldman Sachs, get us out of this. And they're going to throw away $10 billion and it's not going to work.
I had to minimize my hours of working.
Single mom Joanne Hargrove, a mail carrier in Pittsburgh. Joanne Hargrove, single mom Joanne, single mom, 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 single mom Joanne Hargrove, a mail carrier in Pittsburgh, needed to be at home while her 7-year-old daughter goes to school virtually.
Let's get the rhythm of the hit, ding dong.
Working weekends instead of full-time makes providing for the two of them tough.
I didn't realize how much groceries cost. And I didn't realize how much, like, toiletries and, supplies for my house. I didn't really pay attention to how much that stuff cost.
You are so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
I didn't really pay attention to how much that stuff cost.
Even with unemployment benefits and 2 stimulus payments, expenses aren't all covered.
I am paycheck to paycheck. No, I didn't completely deplete my savings. However, my savings is dwindling.
She's not dummy!
My savings is dwindling.
She's not alone. In a new CNBC and Acorns Invest in You survey conducted by SurveyMonkey, 1/4 of Americans said they have tapped their emergency savings or borrowed money from family or a friend since the COVID-19 outbreak.
Come on, man!
Women have had to take these measures, among the highest of any. Nearly 40% of black women have had to take these measures. 1/4 of Americans said they have tapped their emergency savings or borrowed money from family or a friend since the COVID-19 outbreak. Nearly 40% of black women have had to take these measures.
Yeah, and you heard Marilyn Mosby, who got convicted of mortgage fraud and perjury, and I think it was Baltimore. They had recorded calls that they got from her 401k provider. She was calling there talking about, yo, I need to get the money. How can I get the money? Tap the emergency funds, emergency savings, right? Yeah. 40% of them, 40% had to borrow from family or friends, so they bumming or they going in their 401k. These hoes is broke, son. Even the ones with jobs, with good jobs. If they got a good job, they probably more broke because they in more debt.
Among the highest of any group. The survey found that 60% of black women are the sole financial decision makers in their households. Sole financial decision of black women are the survey found that 60% of black women are the sole 60% of black women found that 60% of black women are the 60% of black women are the 60% of black women are the sole found that 60% of black women are the sole financial decision makers in their households. Found that 60% of black women are the sole financial decision makers in their households. Found that 60% of black women are the sole financial decision makers in their households.
Then if you listen to the rappers, you can hear about how they grew up. Yeah, well, we was always getting evicted. It was just me and my mama. And we was always moving around. Yo, because we was in the project. First we was in the P Street projects. Then we had got evicted because I had went to juvenile and broke the rules. So then we went to the 46th Street projects until my mama got her Section 8 house. this shit these niggas be saying. So the broke bitches, they out here fucked up too. You know, the hood bitches.
Financial advisor Crystal Alfred Cooper says when forced to make difficult choices, the first step is having a plan for spending.
We are asking people to start looking at their expenses, what they can do without. You know, we're going back to the definition of needs versus wants.
So basic concepts, needs versus want. Ben Crump, listen to brother Ben Crump. Black women are bearing the brunt of COVID's financial side effects, with about 40% tapping into savings or borrowing from friends and family. Racial disparities, including the wealth gap, are playing a part in this. We must find better ways to help support our black queens. Yo, look, Ben, I could give you a good way that we can support the black queen. Black queen got to go back in the kitchen in the bedroom. Black queen got to do what she told and obey. Black queen got to be loyal, trustworthy. That's the best security she's going to ever have, because the government, yo, they clean that shit out. So all you fucking 80% of black women, and she said 65% was the financial whatever. So, okay, 65%. 65% of you better get your shit together or get a man. And you have to get your mind together. You know how to get in line in order to actually be able to secure a man. And now that men's voices have gotten out there, men aren't the same. You're not the men you left, you're coming back to a different man. He's self-prioritized. He got a little red pill nuggets. Whether he watched red pill, he was into red pill, and many were into red pill. But if not, he got some red pills.
But if you believe in God, believe in
SP motherfucking I.
believe in that for real.
Yeah, you try to say you need to take care of your wife.
What the fuck you know about what I need on my mind, motherfucker?
Yeah, that old stuff ain't gonna work no more. You come back to a more educated man and a more self-preservative man, an observant man. He's gonna hold you to a standard. It's different. I'm telling you, it's different.
Ain't nobody slinging no dick in here but Big Daddy because he's the only one paying bills.
Right.
Yeah, so they out there having it rough.
For Hargrove, that means establishing limits and living in the moment.
Sometimes I have to say no while we're at the store. No, we can't get that right now. I try to just live from day to day.
That's what they doing. They living from day to day. Black women had the worst finances of all groups in America. Way worse than the black man. Yeah, they have the worst financial situations, the least wealth, the most debt. You know what I mean? Oh, and this. Now I'm gonna give you the story about this chick right here. Remember our friend?
For you, fight. Don't be quiet. Sit down. You will lose your seat. They won't vote for you. Fight. Don't fight.
I ain't gonna lie. She is a sexy, thick woman. Like, I'm not that much into women that's that thick. You know they're gonna keep swelling up. But she is a sexy, thick sister. Like, I would bury a lot of dick in this woman.
What the do I have to do in this council in order to get respect as a black woman? I'm not afraid of anybody here. When I make a mistake, I will be clear. I don't hate you as a white woman. I don't hate you as a white man. I am sick and tired of this body so stupidly racially divided, so afraid, so depraved. People with no faith because they are afraid of they're losing their investment. They're afraid of bargaining. They're afraid of leveraging. These people have, oh my God, I can't even call you cowards because desperation deserves mercy. Here's a redistricting. Fine, we give it to a white woman. Can we all get along? Can we get together? Can we love each other now? Can we make sure that black and brown babies don't die? Can we make sure?
Comment on the case itself. I cannot comment on it at all. I cannot comment on it at all. I cannot comment on it at all.
We are hearing from Boston City Councilor Tanya Fernandez Anderson in the wake of reports that she is the subject of a federal investigation. NBC 10 political reporter Matt Pritchard is at City Hall. Matt, what did the councilor have to say? We just heard no comment.
Yeah. I was going to say, JC, you heard a lot of what Councilor Tanya Fernandez Anderson had to say earlier today to the press. But of course, while she said no comment, she also committed to keep working for her constituents in District 7 as all this plays her out in the background. A return to City Hall.
Thank you.
Following reports of a federal investigation, District 7 Councilor Tanya Fernandez Anderson is allegedly the subject of that probe, speaking out for the first time ahead of Wednesday's City Council meeting.
You know what this is. You know I'm not able to comment. You know why.
Councilor, there were conflicting reports about whether maybe federal agents had actually come to your office. Can you sort of clear that up? Can you confirm that happened?
You're asking, even though I said I cannot.
Well, I just want to get it right. I want the reporting to be correct.
I cannot comment and don't know.
Can you say why you can't comment? Have you been asked?
Details are scarce, including what specifically investigators may be looking into.
The government has the right to investigate information that it has that a crime may or may not have been committed. And that's really the step we're in right now.
Boston City officials staying tight-lipped as well.
I'm not going to speculate.
I can speculate. I mean, you were on city council at one point in your life, probably dealt with controversy during that time. Any advice to the council on how they move forward?
I think we have to let the facts unfold.
Now, many on the council unwilling to weigh in on whether this will impact their work. Council President Ruth Z. Louijean said in a statement that, quote, the work of the council will proceed without disruption, but District 2 Councilor Ed Flynn seemed to say otherwise, telling me, quote, it'll be challenging in the next year because of this.
There is much work to be done in District 7.
Councilor Fernandez Anderson says she's moving forward.
Onward with the people's work.
Something we reiterated last night, we'll do it again tonight. No charges have been filed here. And again, a lot of information still to come about what this investigation is really about. Once we have that added info, we'll bring it to you on NBC10Boston.com. Guys, back to you in the studio.
Sit down. You will lose your seat. They won't vote for you. Fight. Don't fight. What the do I have to do in this council in order to get respect as a black woman?
That's the same woman. So she found out that she's under a federal probe. Boss babe, black boss babe. Angry, got a degree. Don't put her in the city council. Don't put her on the judgeship. Don't make her the mayor. They're not doing well. They're doing terrible. This report card time, baby. You got the job, but hey, report card, performance report. Y'all are getting voted out and indicted and all kind of crazy stuff. Charged, yeah. And generally, the electorate as well as other officials are telling y'all, even black men are telling you,
Get the fuck out of here.
Y'all hearing a lot of that on them jobs, them DI jobs that y'all about to be losing.
Our elected officials work for us, not the other way around. Using public office for personal gain is a crime, plain and simple.
Strong words from federal officials as they announced the arrest of Boston City Councilor Tanya Fernandez Anderson. Good morning, everyone. I'm Colton Bradford, and we are staying on top of a lot of breaking news this morning. We're actually going to get to a shooting that happened not long ago in Chelsea in just a few moments. But first, we have team coverage this morning on the arrest of that Boston City Councilor on federal corruption charges. NBC 10's Manoj Kwangwari, he's live for us outside City Hall. He's been getting reaction to this morning's news. Manoj, we're going to get to you in just a moment. Let's begin with our Alicia Palumbo. Alicia, good morning. Walk us through these charges.
Good morning, Colton. These are serious felony charges, and Tanya Fernandez Anderson is scheduled to make her initial appearance here at federal court to officially face those charges at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Boston City Councilor Tanya Fernandez Anderson arrested just after 6 a.m. Friday morning after a federal grand jury indicted the second-term councilor on federal public corruption charges.
It's like deja vu all over again. Another Boston City councilor is accused of embracing a culture of cashing in at the expense of the public good.
The 6 felony charges Fernandez Anderson was indicted on involved wire fraud and theft through an alleged money kickback scheme. Federal prosecutors allege the District 7 councilor hired a relative in a staff position in 2022. This was done after she had already been investigated by the State Ethics Commission and fined $5,000 for hiring 2 immediate family members earlier that year, whom she was forced to terminate. Investigators allege she denied being related to the new staff member and made her staff sign non-disclosure agreements.
She lied to her staff and betrayed her constituents, all while being a strong advocate for increased accountability for public officials.
Federal investigators accused Fernandez Anderson of awarding a bonus to this relative in 2023, who then in turn allegedly gave Fernandez Anderson approximately $7,000 in cash in a City Hall bathroom.
Public officials who line their pockets with taxpayer money erode the trust and confidence of the public in the officials who serve them.
Now, investigators say no one else has been charged in connection with this case at this time, but this investigation is ongoing. We're live outside a federal court in Boston. Alicia Palumbo, NBC 10 Boston.
All right, Alicia, thanks for starting us off this morning. As you can imagine, news of Fernandez Anderson's arrest, it is sending shockwaves through City Hall. NBC 10's Manoj Kongwari is live there with reaction from local lawmakers. Manoj?
Well, Colton, it's important to note that these 6 federal charges are merely allegations at this point. Tanya Fernandez Anderson will still have a chance to explain herself in court. But after all of that, if she is found guilty, it will be monumental for a council that just in the last 3 years has seen several members involved in federal crimes.
I was surprised when I saw this morning how serious the allegations are.
Speaking candidly Friday morning, at-large City Council member Erin Murphy reacting.
It's alarming.
After finding out her fellow Boston City Council member Tanya Fernandez Anderson now faces 6 federal charges, 5 counts of wire fraud, and 1 count of theft involving federal funds.
If we're using our power for personal gain in any job is not right.
The charges for Fernandez Anderson coming just 1 year after being reelected to the District 7 seat, a position she had been holding since 2021, becoming the first Muslim councilor in Boston's history, the first formerly undocumented immigrant, and the first African immigrant. At the time of these allegations, she holds the vice chair position for the council's Committee on Post-Audit, a committee geared toward accountability and transparency.
What should they think of these committees if
the chairs of the committees are breaking the law? I mean, they should be upset, and rightfully so.
Now, the council will not be discussing this matter in any of their upcoming hearings, as this still is an ongoing situation. But it will be a challenge for them to push forward with this hanging over their head. Councilmember Ed Flynn has already stated this will be a distraction. Reporting in Boston, Manoj Kongwari, NBC 10 Boston.
Manoj.
Now she done got arrested. That happened today. I was like, these black chicks, they are falling like flies in the professional world. And when DEI finishes dying, it's gonna be hard for them, bro. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard for them.
And my daughters, you know what they're being taught to be? Wives and mothers. Oh, you want to be ignorant. No, college is what makes you stupid.
Boston City Councilor Tanya Fernandez Anderson refusing to answer questions about the federal charges against her. Prosecutors say she organized a corruption scheme in order to steal $7,000. FBI agents arrested Anderson today, and she made a court appearance late this afternoon. WBZ's Christina Rex was at federal court when Anderson passed on her chance to give an explanation to voters.
Excuse us. Excuse us. No, we're not commenting, guys.
Boston City Councilor Tanya Fernandez Anderson silent as reporters try to get answers about allegations of stealing taxpayer money. For your message to your voters.
We have nothing to say to you guys.
But the city councilor was arrested at her Dorchester home early Friday morning by federal agents.
Public officials who line their pockets with taxpayer money erode the trust and confidence of the public in the officials who serve them.
The U.S. Attorney says the illegal behavior happened in City Hall in 2023, where Anderson allegedly hired a relative to work for her and gave that relative a $13,000 bonus. Then inside a City Hall bathroom, they alleged these texts were sent. Bathroom and ready. Then that staffer allegedly gave Anderson back $7,000 cash of the taxpayer money. This is not her first run-in with ethics violations, and investigators say Anderson was struggling financially in part because of
A sanction that was imposed by the State Ethics Commission of
investigators say Anderson was struggling financially in part because investigators say Anderson was struggling financially was struggling financially. Say Anderson was struggling financially in part because Anderson was struggling financially in part because of say Anderson was struggling financially in part because of
a sanction that was imposed by the State Ethics Commission of $5,000 for Ms. Fernandez-Anderson hiring immediate family members.
Now some are calling for her resignation. In a
She's a dusty African, first of all. You gotta understand that. You know, in Africa, that's how the government works. You get your brother in and you get your son in and your nephews in, and y'all start doing little, fraud type abuse to funnel money out the government and keep it going to you and your family. Why do people suffer? And they don't have the systems and the AI and the back end computer systems but in America, she went into the American government system with a African government mentality. Hired her kids or her brothers and sisters to be her direct reports, raised their salaries higher than everybody else's, gave them big bonuses and said, give me half of that bonus. $7,000. Pookie ass shit.
statement, Mayor Wu said the serious nature of these charges undermine the public trust and will prevent her from effectively serving the city. I urge the councilor to resign. So does Councilor Ed Flynn.
I believe in the best interest of the city, it's necessary for Councilor Fernandez-Anderson to resign.
And Anderson,
get the fuck out of here.
Right now, and because these are just allegations, she is still
Interest of the city, it's necessary for Councilor Fernandez-Anderson to resign.
And Anderson was released after that first hearing, meaning she is a free woman right now. And because these are just allegations, she is still a practicing Boston City Councilor in good standing and could report to work on Monday. In the Seaport, Christina Rex, WBZ News.
And let's go further into that. It seems unlikely that the city council will vote to force her out, at least for now. The rules for the council say that the president of the council can, quote, refer a matter to the council if a member may be unqualified to sit on the body. And the rules say that breaking the law would qualify. But only one city councilor has ever been expelled. That was Chuck Turner back in 2010. But that was only after he was convicted. He challenged the expulsion in court, and the state's highest court ruled in his favor, saying the council actually overstepped its authority. The council then made a financial settlement with Turner.
I take your bitch, I fuck your pussy. My whole name Keisha, that's a bad bitch. Stupid attitude, though, you can have it.
Big up to Lord Hybrid.
My whole Shaniqua, straight savage. But I never cup a dope, you can stab me.
Shout out to Lord Hybrid.
My best team, them, I'm selling those. Pussy, give me higher. I don't need no drugs.
Just the steering and the heaviness of it, the placement. It's a tall vehicle. You coming?
My bitch Trina, keep that Aquafina, and the mama thinking for if only you seen her. I sit at the crib, waiting on her to call. She show up to my house, she don't wear no show. Demolition shorty, man, I tell her to walk. Take it out the pussy, go straight in the jaws. I sit at the crib, waiting on her to call. She show up to my house, she don't wear no show.
Hit that gas. Boy, feel that. You know what I'm saying?
Demolition shorty, man, I tell her to walk. Take it out the pussy, go straight in the jaws.
I bought the G-Wagon cash. Lord Hybrid.
I got a whole name Tina, I love that bitch. A whole name Trina, I love that bitch. I got a whole name Shanika, but I hate that bitch. A whole name Keisha, why I date that bitch. See my brother Young Snow, that my dog. Red Cuzzo, that my dog. Hey, no sleep, fuck you pussy. I take your bitch, I fuck your pussy.
You laugh at bitches who worship big dicks like that.
It's fun to have car. It's fun to have. People give me a lot of respect in this car, man.
I got a whole name Aisha, whole name Brisha, whole name Callie, that work at Little Caesar.
You laugh at bitches who worship big dicks like that.
Whole name Aisha, whole name Brisha, whole name Callie, that work at Little Caesar. Whole name Aisha, whole name Brisha, whole name Callie, that work at Little Caesar.
What the fuck you do that for?
Whole name Dolly, that be fucking with Isha. Get back to Fania, cause you know she fuck with Gina.
Big up to Lord Hybrid.
Whole name Holly, best friend Molly. Holly at Aisha, cause you know she kinda jolly. Her mama named Kim, damn she kinda slim. Get Linda and Mary, bitch, all fuck with them.
Shout out to Lord Hybrid.
Let me call Nisha, sister named Quila, cousin named Sheikah. I be hitting Tisha.
What the fuck you do that for?
I be hitting Tisha, don't give a dog. Dick gang, stupid dog, do balls and all. I sit at the crib, waiting on her to call. She show up to my house, I ask for her drawers. Double this is shawty, man, I tell her to walk.
Take it out of pussy dog.
You laugh at bitches who worship big dicks like that.
Lord Hybrid. My boy got them bands, bro.
Important day. It's the beginning of a journey. You've heard what DOGE is all about, the Department of Government Efficiency. It's a new thing, and this is a new day in Washington and a new day in America. We have long lamented the size and scope of the government, that it has grown too large. And let me be frank about this. Government is too big, it does too many things, and it does almost nothing well. And the taxpayers deserve better. They deserve a more responsive government, a more efficient government, one that is leaner and more focused on its primary objectives.
You
and
ain't black.
We believe it's an historic moment for the country, and these two gentlemen are going to help navigate through this exciting new day. Elon and Vivek don't need much of an introduction here in Congress for certain, and most of the American people know what they're capable of and what they've achieved. Both of these gentlemen have run very successful organizations. They're innovators, and they're forward thinkers. And so that's what we need right now. And so what you're going to have today is first is a meeting that we'll have here with decision makers, key figures in the Republican House and Senate who are chairs of committees of jurisdiction who deal with the money and financing of government and the structure of government. We'll have chairs of the new DOGE caucuses that have been set up in the Senate and the House. And then after that, we'll proceed to the Congressional Auditorium where all of the Senate Republicans and House Republicans have been invited, and I think many of them will gather for this discussion. So there won't be a lot of detail for the press today, and that's by design, because this is a brainstorming session. It is the first, again, as I said, of a long series of meetings that will be held as we're laying the groundwork for the new year and the new Congress. And you're going to see a lot of change around here and in Washington and the way things are run. We need to make government more efficient. And that is what this whole objective is. It's what the DOGE effort will be about. And you're going to see a bicameral cooperation, and it will be, by the way, bipartisan. Over the last 24, 48 hours, you've seen a number of our Democrat colleagues, both in the Senate and the House, who have said, you know what, sign me up. I want to be a part of this as well. So we welcome that. It should be a bipartisan effort.
Stay the fuck away from these hoes, the dumb motherfuckers. Like, god damn.
I want all the cars. I want all my niggas with the cars. I want all the hoes. I want all the jewelry. We popping bottles.
Because I told you last night don't be fucking smoking if you ain't got my fucking money. I told you that shit last night, right? If you ain't got my money.
Come on, I got a present for you. Suck it! Suck it, nigga!
Suck a dog dick, nigga. Fuck you, nigga.
The freedom bell ring got me fly like a free, fly like an eagle. Let's go! Free! Let's go!
Get the fuck out of here!
You know, and my daughters, you know what they're being taught to be? Wives and mothers. Oh, you want to be ignorant. No, college is what makes you stupid.
What would you say you do here?
The way to make $1 million, first and foremost, is to make it in your mind.
Shout out to Lord Hybrid.
Lord Hybrid.
Shout out to Lord Hybrid.
Shout out to Lord Hybrid. I'm saying Lord Hybrid, okay? Big up to Lord Hybrid.
And then I want to give an acknowledgement to my rich friends in the building. Shout out to Lord Hybrid.
Nigga got money.
I'm getting money out here independently. I own my own brands 100%. And I bought the G-Wagon cash. Lord Hybrid.
Yo, Lord Hybrid. My boy got them bands, bro. I told you this, nigga.
In business, the goal is for you to become independent and be the boss, take the responsibility, and also get the profit.
I ain't got no motherfucking boss. SP motherfucking I.
I can smell a motherfucker with money.
When you look at what Lord Hybrid is saying, he's right about all that, really.
You know, and my daughters, you know what they're being taught to be? Wives and mothers. Oh, you want to be ignorant. No, college is what makes you stupid.
When trying to be a man goes wrong.
Come on, man.
Again with the money?
Yeah, again with the money.
Ain't nobody slinging no dick in here but Big Daddy, because he the only one paying bills.
Right.
I told you this, nigga, 2 years ago, you was gonna get left.
I said I suck your dick.
I told you this, nigga.
We are better than you niggas. We are better than you niggas.
You ain't nobody.
We are better than you niggas.
You're so dumb.
We are better than you niggas.
You ain't shit.
We are better than you niggas.
You ain't shit.
We are better than you niggas.
You ain't nobody.
We are better than you niggas.
You're so dumb.
We are better than you niggas.
You ain't nobody.
We are better than you niggas.
Wow.
We are better than you niggas. We are better than you niggas. We are better than you niggas. We are better than you niggas.
You're so dumb.
You ain't nobody. You ain't shit.
We don't claim you. SP motherfucking I.
These niggas can't touch us.
Royalty, the Lord and the Emperor. Yo, bitch, she done already got taken advantage of. We been pimping her. I been renting, stimping her, busting on her. I think I bust so much on her, I gave her pneumonia. She was trying to give me herpes. I told her, please, pass me that box of condoms. I got to put that over me before I go up in you. You know how I do hybrid, I'm keeping it true. 100% the realest. You could tell I really did it. You could see I really live it. Motherfucking big booty bitches running around in the penthouse with their asses all out. Follow behind the camera that I'm holding. I'm molding these bitches to be more devilish. Niggas is getting mad. It's real sad when you look at what he have and then you look at what you got and you be like, damn, I don't have much.
Not the broke nigga. We don't claim you.
Not even a lot of hoes come through cause your place kinda funky and creepy and small. Man, get your old ass balls and get up off your drawers and go out there and make some money, nigga. Build your wealth. You ought to be ashamed of yourself with your broke ass.
I'm broke, nigga. I'm broke.
Go work for your master, niggas work for me and give me cheese. Nigga, it's a blessing to be this intelligent and effervescent with my mind. Shining way brighter than the fucking sun even shine. Y'all niggas need to put more time in trying to understand what the grind is. Y'all niggas was walking out here wealthless and mindless.
I'm broke, nigga. I'm broke. I can't eat. SP motherfucking I.
I told you this, nigga. You was gonna get left.
Jason. Get the fuck off our dick.
Chink, bitch!
Whip that pussy! Come on, I got a present for you. Suck it! Suck it, nigga! SP motherfucking I.
Again with the money? Yeah, again with the money.
God damn, look at my pockets now. Started my own business. I done blew up for realists. Stacks coming in every day. On foreign islands is where the fuck I stay. Fucking foreign bitches, they be cooking, they be fucking, they be sucking. Man, it isn't nothing. I'm the motherfucking shit. Bitch, without you, I'm set free. I'm so damn high. You got to look up on the sky, cause I'm on a plane, that's why. To an international destination with no hesitation. Got bitches waiting at reception with invitations with my name on it. God damn it, I done turned my life to the shit. And guess what? I didn't need no motherfucking bitch.
You got left.
SP motherfucking I. I take your bitch, I fuck your pussy. My whole name Keisha, that's a bad bitch. Stupid attitude though, you can have it.
Big up to Lord Hybrid.
My whole Shanika, straight savage. But I never cup of dope, you can stab it.
Shout out to Lord Hybrid. Them on Sunday goes. Pussy get me higher, I don't need no drugs.
Just the steering and the heaviness of it, the placement. It's a tall vehicle. You coming?
My bitch Trina, keep that Aquafina. And lil' mama thinking for if only you seen her. I sit at the crib, waiting on her to call. She show up to my house, she don't wear no shawl. Demolition shouted, man, I tell out the wall. Take it out the pussy, go straight in the jaws. I sit at the crib, waiting on her to call. She show up to my house, she don't wear no shawl.
Hit that gas. Boy, feel that. You know what I'm saying?
Demolition shouted, man, I tell out the wall. Take it out the pussy, go straight in the jaws.
I bought the G-Wagon cash. Lord Hybrid.
I got a whole name Tina, I love that bitch. A whole name Trina, I love that bitch. I got a whole name Shanika, but I hate that bitch. A whole name Keisha, why I date that bitch. See my brother Young Snow, that my dog. Red Cuzzo, that my dog. Hey, no sleep, fuck you pussy. I take your bitch, I fuck your pussy.
You laugh at bitches who worship big dicks like that.
It's it's fun to have car. It's fun to have. People give me a lot of respect in this car, man.
I got a whole name Aisha, whole name Brisha, whole name Callie that work at Little Caesar.
You laugh at bitches who worship big dicks like that.
Whole name Aisha, whole name Brisha, whole name Callie that work at Little Caesar. Whole name Aisha, whole name Brisha, whole name Callie that work at Little Caesar.
What the fuck you do that for?
Whole name Dolly, that be fucking with Isha. Get back to Fania, cause you know she fuck with Gina.
Big up to Lord Hybrid.
Whole name Holly, best friend Molly. Holly at Aisha, cause you know she kinda jolly. Her mama named Kim, damn she kinda slim. Get Linda and married, bitch.
I fuck with them. Shout out to Lord Hybrid.
Let me call Nisha, sister named Quila, cousin named Sheikah. I be hitting Tisha.
What the fuck you do that for?
I be hitting Tisha, don't give a dog. Dick game stupid dog, do balls and all. I sit at the crib, waiting on her to call. She show up to my house, I ask for her drawers. Double this is shawty, man, I tell her walls.
Take it out of pussy dog.
You laugh at bitches who worship big dicks like that.
Lord Hybrid. My boy got them bands, bro.